White people and white supremacy is unfortunately what is presently running this world, right? They have the power, they have the weapons, they have all of that. So you would think they will be feeling secure in their position. But no. There is one thing that really has white people, white supremacy, shaking constantly in their boots. Now, you might be thinking, oh, it's got to be the nuclear weapon in North Korea that's giving these people sleepless nights. Wrong. What is giving these people sleepless nights? Is black people. The global black population and black unity is a major threat to white supremacy. This is a fact that is all too glaring, you cannot not see it. We even have historical evidence to back this up. Now, whilst black people globally doing nothing majorly threatens white supremacy, now that is a broader conversation that we are going to be having at a different time. But for today's conversation, I want us to narrow it down to our African American brothers and sisters and how white supremacy and white America feels very threatened by them, even though our African American brothers and sisters aren't the ones with the violent history that white America has. So a couple of weeks ago, we saw this video from this African sister from Somali, who in this video was talking about how when they first moved to America, or the United States of America, they were warned by white Americans to stay clear of African Americans.
Beware of black people and stay away from them. They are not good people is one of the first things that my mom was told when she came to this country. I am a first-generation immigrant child. My parents came here back in 1993 after the Somali War. My parents came here as refugees and they were taught the ways of the Americans by white people who were helping them stay in hotels, giving food, shelter, etc., etc. My mom told me a lot of things that the guides would tell them. They would say, these people, they're black, they get into a lot of crimes. I wouldn't suggest that you mess around with them. One day my mom was taking a permit class, and just like the jail yard, the black people were together, the Mexicans were together, the Africans were with the Africans, the Asians with the Asians, whatever. And as the instructor was talking about, driving and on the road, she said, just make sure that you're paying attention. And for you, she pointed to the Asians and said, don't laugh when you're driving. Don't smile. Simple. Cheap labor. Why do you think America is playing hero right now with Ukraine? Why do you think America has always been the hero for refugees and immigrants? Why do you think immigration started to peak right after slavery ended? We're going to save you. We're going to give you housing, resources, safety. We're going to bring your kids. We're going to give you jobs. We're going to sell you the American dream. But the fine print of that contract, don't mess with these people. They're lazy. They don't want to work. They're violent. They're horrible people. They beat black people to the punch and got their side of the story out first. They modified and watered down the brutal and inhumane conditions and things that they did to black people and natives in this country.
So we saw that, right? But now I came by a video from a Mexican guy who was talking about the exact same thing, saying when he first moved to the United States, he too was warned to stay away from African Americans.
When we think of black people, we think of stereotypes. They're loud and things of that nature, right? I did a video that went viral that's called Mexicans, and more or less what I described there was that when I first arrived to this country from Mexico, I was warned about black people and be careful with them. They're problematic, they're gonna get you into trouble, they're violent and things of that nature. All the negative things that are attached to the stereotypes. What I also said in that video was when I was settling in this country and moving into a black neighborhood, the first thing that I noticed was that black people were embracing me more than my own people. So as I was getting together with black people and felt so welcome, I began to question the stereotypes and what I was warned about. And so for many years of my life, black people, they're good. Whatever you guys are saying, it's not true because they welcome me. They'll always receive me with open arms. But you see, I've been wrong in chanting that song. In a way, it's actually been damaging because what if black people never welcome me? Would that prove then the stereotypes right? You see, the interesting part here is that by default, black people are the bad guy. White people are the good guys. Why, when I came to this country, I was warned about black people, but not white people? When history has taught us that white people came from Europe and pretty much destroyed us as much as possible, and have been colonized, ethnically cleansed, and pretty much stripped from our languages and everything we are by white people. You would think, based on history, based on our current systemic efforts, you would think that arriving to this country would be warned about white people. Hey, be careful. They pass laws. You get pulled over for your complexion. Things of that nature. But no. So the real question is, what seems to be the problem? A good example of that is, as I'm walking on the street and I see a black or a brown man coming my way, our reaction collectively is, what the F you looking at? But then when a white man is coming our way, we move to the side and say, excuse me, sir. So we are looking at ourselves, at each other, with the eyes of the people that have colonized us. You said that black people tend to be naturally more welcoming, more accepting, and it's true. I agree. I grew up in black neighborhoods, so it allowed me to discover that. But see, that's also problematic, because what if I never grew up in black neighborhoods? Why do black people have to, in a way, prove their humanity, have to convince us of their humanity, but white people never have to? So if I grew up, let's just say, in a Mexican neighborhood only, so from a distance, I'm thinking, oh, I ain't trying to go to that black neighborhood because black folks are violent. But it's okay if I go to that white neighborhood because white people are not violent. So you see, by default, white folks get their humanity, black people do not. So you said something very important too. Who's been controlling the macro media and who still controls it? What is the standard of beauty? The white standard of beauty. So everything that is white has been right. We are so behind, so many decades behind in regards to who's been controlling the macro media, the mass media. Whoever has been controlling how we see the world, the images and the messages, subliminal messages. But also, one of the best things you said that I completely agree, and it plays the biggest part, is the victor gets to write our history. And so we've been depicted as the bad guys, and the conqueror, the colonizer, the slaver has depicted himself as the good guy. And unfortunately, due to indoctrination and white supremacist ideologies that have been forced onto us and we've adopted and unfortunately practiced, we have been treating and viewing each other with the eyes of the white supremacist white man.
So basically, these people are telling everybody who goes into the United States to stay away from African Americans. Shout out to this guy, by the way. He's a good one. I really enjoy his content on TikTok. You know, it takes a degree of awareness and sense to be able to peep game the way he has. Because if he had taken their words for it, he never would have gotten close to African Americans to find out that they were the direct opposite of everything that was being said about them, right? And this is what I tell my people, especially on TikTok. Don't listen to anything that comes out of these people's mouth. Like, if they tell you something is A, know it's Z. If they tell you something is white, know it's pink. If they tell you this thing is up, no, it's down. Always go in the opposite or adjacent direction of whatever it is they tell you. And this is why I am so grateful that we now have social media, because the work that people are doing on here, marvelous, absolutely amazing. We now get to see right through the BS regardless of your location. All the lies are getting exposed, and I'm here for it. These people may have all of that power and all of that stolen money and all of that weapon, but they are still scared shitless of black people. They are scared shitless of African Americans. Just a bunch of historical cowards, so-called superior race. But their inferiority they smell. I can smell their inferiority all the way down here in Nigeria. Their inferiority they sono. You have to go out of your way to slander, belittle, step on other people so you can continue to stay on top. Or like I always say, when breeze blow, far yansh go open. Meaning nothing stays hidden under the sun. And guys, we've come to the end of this video. Let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on all of this. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.